Galamera, Galamera, Galamera. A little bit of a funny poor start there at the moment, to be quite honest. Right, so good morning. How are we all today? Well, I just thought, first of all, I'd quickly go and look towards the hills because the weather yesterday was just basically pants, the weather yesterday. We did have rain. And today, I woke up this morning when we got up to feed the cats and everything else. We had a lot of mist, low-lying mist on the hills, but that seems to have started to dissipate now. And the sun is now starting to come through. There's a little bit of a breeze, but I've got to be honest, it's not cold. In fact, standing here at the moment, it feels lovely and warm, and the sun is right above me. So you'll notice that my photo-reflective lenses on my glasses have gone dark. But I've got a feeling that the sun is going to burn off a lot of this cloud today, and I think we might have a reasonable day, which will be good as we inch our way further forward towards a summer. Once again, a big shout out to Teresa Huggett tuning in. Julie Meldrum is also tuning in as well. Nice to see you here looking in. Over the back of the house then, looking towards Kalamaki and also Laguna as the crow flies. Again, yeah. It's grey, but I think the sun is going to burn the cloud off there. And as we look up towards Sillavi in that direction, yeah, lots of cloud up there. But if you notice, I don't know if you can see this, but I can certainly see this. The cloud is moving quite quickly. So it's being blown away at the moment by just that breeze I can just feel behind me. But to be honest, it's not a cold breeze, it's a nice breeze. Right, let's get down to the news then. To be honest, there's been a lot going on within the last 24 hours here in Greece and also around the world. Can I just say thank you to those people yesterday that were sending me video links to various demonstrations around the world. London, Amsterdam, Portugal, I think was another location, Serbia, of people basically protesting against lockdowns and freedoms and stuff like that. It was good to see, actually, because, again, I think people are now saying, you know what, we got to get back to work. It's about living with it, not trying to basically beat it at the moment. So once again, thank you to those people. Sent me all those little links and that. It's greatly appreciated. And a lot of people singing off the same song sheet as well, which is good to see. But we'll see if the governments take any notice of it. The police were strangely quiet in London yesterday during the protests there. They didn't sort of do what they did on the last few protests where they waded in and just basically made the situations kind of worse. And everybody was peacefully protesting, so there was nobody taking advantage as well. Well, I haven't seen any reports of anybody taking advantage, but anyway, that was good. But let's crack on with what's going on here in Greece. At the moment, just to remind you, it's the 21st of March 2021, and it's a Sunday, and it is now day 135 of the lockdown. Yep. So let's have a quick look at what's been going on in the last 24 hours here in Greece. Well, some good news. COVID infections are down slightly. Yesterday, I reported to you that were 2,785 COVID infections for Friday. Well, for yesterday, Saturday, across the country, there were 2,535 new infections, bringing the grand total since the pandemic started to 233,079, of which still 51% of those are male. Anyway, also another bit of good news, infections coming into the country via various ports of entry. That is also down at the moment. The other day I reported to you that there'd been 16 cases. Well, yesterday, only 11. So the numbers there are dropping as well. Now, according to the national stats yesterday, there were 3 new cases in Macardo, there were 4 new cases in Kefalonia, there was 1 new case in Corfu, and Zakynthos actually had reported 5 new cases, but I think those are catch-up stats, because yesterday, at the moment, there were only 4 positive cases of coronavirus that were reported on the island, and they were as follows. A 66-year-old man was found positive with a rapid test from a private practice, and 3 more were also confirmed from the General Hospital of Zakynthos as well. And they were a 50-year-old Zakynthian, a 44-year-old foreigner, so that could be an Albanian or an expat, and finally a 33-year-old foreigner who actually had contact from a confirmed case, which was his wife. So that means the total number of coronavirus cases since the beginning of the year here on Zakynthos has risen to 195 positive cases. And for the month of March, we have had now 95 cases for the month of March. And we shall see how things progress today. Right now, as for deaths also are on a slight decline. Yesterday, I reported to you that we had 64 new deaths across the country. Well, yesterday, we had 60 new deaths across the country, bringing the total amount of deaths since the pandemic started to 7,361. The average age of those being 79 years of age, and 96.4% of those had underlying health problems or were over the age of 70. And once again, just to put that in context, the average daily death rate in Greece in 2019 would be about 329 deaths a day. Anyway, as for Zakynthos then, we've had 3 deaths this year. The latest death was just last week of an 80-year-old woman. And before that, for this month, was a 74-year-old. And then we had our first death of the year was in February. And again, that was a 70-year-old woman. So when it comes to critical cases at the moment, I'm afraid that is the area that the Greek government is really concerned about at the moment, because critical cases in hospitals are up. I did report to you the last time that there were 649 critical cases in ICUs across the country. Well, yesterday that number has risen to 672, of which 448 are male and 224 are female. The average age of critical cases at the moment is 68 years of age, and 86% of those have underlying health issues or are over the age of 70 as well. Right, now, today's news, right mix of news today for you. The European Union is putting pressure on pharmaceutical companies to speed up their vaccination deliveries to the EU or face an export ban on vaccines they produce within the Union as the new infections continue to surge. That's their wording, not mine, in 27 member states. All right, the AstraZeneca in particular has only delivered a portion of the agreed quantities of their vaccine in the first quarter of the year. Now, interestingly, PFIZER has urged the EU to back down on its threats to block vaccine exports to the UK, as essential ingredients for it are actually made in Yorkshire. Yeah, it seems the drug maker warned that the production could grind to a halt if Britain retaliates, sparking further jab chaos on the continent. At the moment, the continent doesn't have a very good record in comparison to the UK for its rollout of vaccinations. The UK now reporting 51% of the adult population actually having received the jab. Anyway, the Yorkshire-based chemical company called Croda International have been delivering what they call fatty molecules to Pfizer EU factories since a 5-year contract was signed in November. Anyway, Pfizer and its partner Biotech have told the EU that Britain can strike back against any export ban by withholding vital materials. Anyway, the warning comes after the EU Commissioner President Ursula von der Leyen threatened to seize vaccines from Britain as she demanded Europe got a bigger share of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. Also as well, fresh news this morning off the press, Greece is introducing free COVID-19 home test kits for all citizens from the beginning of April. Yeah, a maximum of 4 test kits per person will be available. That's basically 1 per week for the month. And they are obtained through your local pharmacies. You will need to get your AMCA or your social security number to be able to get one of these free vaccine kits. The tests, which are between 95 to 99% accurate, they're also easy to administer at home. They involving just taking a small sample of saliva or a nasal swab, and you basically add that to the test kit. You then obviously send the test kit back. It is then obviously checked, and then you'll receive further information on what to do if you should actually test positive after doing that test. So, and again, we shall wait and see what transpires there. Anyway, another twist in the story of the death of the 45-year-old man here in Kerry, who died of gunshot wounds on Friday. It seems initially it was reported that the man had accidentally shot himself in the leg while he was in the hilly area of Kerry, and then that he was then rushed to hospital by his friends and then died from his injuries en route. Then later, you may remember yesterday, the story then changed. They said, however, later another story was released that the man had shot himself in another man's warehouse, and the sound of the gun going off and the shouts had alerted his friends to rush to his aid. In the warehouse he was in was the warehouse that he was in was the owner of the gun. So he had shot himself with the owner of the warehouse's gun, and that had inflicted the injury on him. And again, he was then rushed to hospital by his friends, where he was then pronounced dead. However, more reports came in yesterday. The story has changed slightly again, and last night another story was published that says, according to what was published, there was differences between the 45-year-old and his fellow villager. It seems a 45-year-old, and they described it with a clouded mind, went to the farmhouse of the owner of the shotgun, went into his farmhouse and started to empty all his wine barrels from all over. So he was obviously going there angry over some reason which has not been said in public. Anyway, during his time inside the house where he was emptying the wine barrels, he actually found the shotgun actually in its case. He then opened the case, took out the shotgun, and then started to smash the shotgun onto the floor to create damage to it or to break it. And obviously he hadn't realised that the shotgun was actually loaded. So in the process of smashing the shotgun, the weapon discharged, hitting him in the thigh, where the injury happened. Then obviously the sound of the shot alerted people. Some of his friends obviously could hear his cries as well. However, they said it was too late. They did try to get him to the hospital, but he was pronounced dead on arrival at the hospital. So there we go. Once again, can we just offer our deep condolences to the family of the man who's passed away. Once again, very, very tight-knit communities down in those sort of areas. Once again, we just offer our condolences, and we'll see what transpires. Anyway, going back to a very serious story, which I know caused a lot of people to get very worried yesterday, especially online. Mike Tinsley, a member of the UK's government's pandemic advisory committee, stated sadly that summer holidays abroad for UK citizens this year are extremely unlikely. Anyway, due to the risk of holidaymakers bringing more aggressive COVID-19 variants back to the UK, not bringing them into where they're going, but bringing them back. Anyway, Dr. Tinsley added, what is really dangerous is if we jeopardise our vaccination campaign by having these variants where the vaccines don't work as effectively, spreading more rapidly. Well, a lot of people have actually just turned around and said, look, we want a holiday no matter what, we'll take our chances. This is obviously where now the vaccine passport and all the other measures are coming in. And to be honest, we actually need it. There's no two ways about it. What Britain does is going to affect us greatly here, and that we want to see tourism come back. And I think, once again, the weather is for the warmer. It should abate the virus. We didn't get this massive plague last year, and we had no vaccine last year either. And we had, for what we were allowed, a reasonable summer. But again, we need people to come. We need people. And as the further stories will ride out as I go on, there was an interesting story published in the local press which doesn't originate from Zakynthos, but originates from the Pleiades, as the huge issue regarding the vaccination or not to vaccinate hotel employees and the employees in other tourist accommodation. Now, this is an issue that directly concerns the islands of the Pleiades. And not only that, but also it's something that we could look at here in Zakynthos at the moment. In the view of the upcoming tourist season and related to the large number of employees, as it has become known, the vaccination platform for hotel employees is expected to open soon in order for everything to be ready and safe for the new tourist season to open on May the 15th. At the government level, it has been reported unofficially that the vaccination of this category of workers will be optional, as it is the case for all citizens. The same line will be followed by the Association of Hoteliers and Tourist Accommodation, as well as the owners of tourist businesses, as the vaccine should not become one of the recruitment criteria. So what they're saying, it's still your choice whether you have the vaccination or not, but you've also got to look at it like this. If 51% of the population of the UK is now vaccinated, that means technically that there should be no risk for us when they come over. They're talking about us giving them something that they bring back to the UK. So at the moment, I still feel that it shouldn't be made mandatory that an employee has to have the vaccination to work in a hotel or to work in a bar or a restaurant. I feel that it should be your own personal choice. The same as, do I have to have a flu vaccine to work in a bar? Because I don't get flu in the summer, do I? I get flu towards the end of the season when the weather changes and it suddenly gets colder and then the flu virus comes out. So again, like people are saying, let's learn to live with it rather than lock down. Because again, looking at what's going on with lockdowns, I was looking at a very interesting report from an Irish person living in Portugal saying that the WHO actually did advise a lot of governments when the pandemic first started not to lock down, all right, but to stay open, keep their economies turning, because at the end of the day, in their eyes, in the interest of their eyes, it's better the economies keep turning and burning and you protect the vulnerable, protect the old, because you're going to create more issues on a medical level and also on a mental health level by completely closing down. And for some reason, that I think that message got clouded. All right, the governments were going to do what they were going to do, and when you look at the money that's been made from people over this pandemic through IPE, through vaccine sales, and everything else, it just tells you that there is something not quite right with what's been going on. But anyway, should hotel employees have to have the vaccine? Yes or no? Put your comments down. I'll be curious to see what your feelings are about that as well. Also, as well, in that same article, they said, however, no one can guarantee whether unvaccinated workers will be hired. Nothing should be taken for granted, as the demands of visitors, especially from abroad, will be increased for health protection issues in order to choose a destination and accommodation. Also, because the government has made tourism a top priority in order to revitalise the economy and boost the state coffers with revenues, it is possible, albeit indirectly, to apply a stricter framework to the vaccination of those involved in tourism. And they finally said this is a very serious issue which has already taken on a nationwide dimension and should be clarified officially as soon as possible. Meanwhile, so again, I'll leave that with you. Do you think hotel employees should be forced to have the vaccine? Yes or no? Do you want to have the vaccine? Have you had the vaccination? I know a lot of people have had the vaccination and have told me so. And great, your choice, as I've always said. Me, still, I'm going to hang out and see what happens and see how things proceed. However, maybe I might have to give in. You never know. If I want to work, I want to make money, I want to eat, maybe I might have to. And that is, in my opinion, wrong, that I should be forced to have to do that. Right, now, Interestingly, a little bit more about the parade next Thursday. Yes, are we going to be open for the parade next Thursday, despite what's going on? The French Defence Minister, Florence Parly, well, that's a nice name, Parly, will replace the French President Emmanuel Macron in attending the celebrations on March the 25th. Remember I told you the French weren't coming? Well, it looks like the French are coming. She will be there to commemorate the bicentennial celebrations of the beginning of the country's War of Independence in 1821 against the Ottomans. After the French president had cancelled his visit on Friday due to the month-long lockdown, which has been imposed in Paris and also parts of northern France to halt the spread of the coronavirus there. Putin will arrive in Athens on March the 24th, it says, and the Prime Minister Mitsotakis she will meet Prime Minister Mitsotakis and attend the celebrations on the following day. Now, officials said on Friday Romania and Greece are looking to set up a traveller. Oh, yeah, this is another story. I do apologise. Anyway, officials said on Friday that Romania and Greece are looking to set up travel arrangements using their own vaccine certificates that would open up the tourism between the two countries as soon as next month. Anyway, as a press conference in Bucharest, the Greek tourism minister, Kyriakis, said Greece is eager to receive Romanian tourists before the EU agrees on creating its own vaccine certificates. I've got to be honest, last year we did have Romanian tourists here on Zakynthos. They were some of the very first tourists to arrive, and I must admit, we met some of them while in Lidl, Jane and I, and we were like pressing them to find out how they managed to get into the country. They'd driven over from Romania because Romania was having its little issues at the time, and they were the first tourists to be here on Zakynthos. Not in massive numbers, but also just in the fact that their presence was there, and it kind of heralded, yeah, we're going to get some form of tourism this year. I'm not sure what they were like in the way of spending money and stuff like that, but at least they had come and they were doing business with Lidl at least anyway. Kyriakis, the tourism minister, also said we really want the EU to step up the procedure to release the EU health certificate. But until then, we want to have discussions with the Romanian Minister for Tourism so that we can accept tourists even before reaching an agreement at European level. Kyriakis said Greece will look to accept vaccine certificates issued by Romania, and that tourists from the Eastern European nation could start visiting as early as mid-April, about a month before Greece officially starts its tourist season, which this year will be on the 14th of May. Anyway, the Romanian tourism minister, Claude Nasu, said that the government would take the final decision on the matter, but this is the direction which he will be taking. Before the pandemic there used to be more than 1 million Romanians would visit Greece each year. And as I said, I know that we used to get a few here as well. Right, and finally, this is a nice story. I know we've got people over in the Brussels who tune in. I saw this little one, a little bit of life relief. The iconic statue of Brussels' so-called mannequin piss, or the pissing boy, or the little pissing man, whichever you want to describe it. He's going to be dressed like an Evzone. Now, an Evzone is a Greek soldier of the Presidential Guard. Anyway, he's going to be dressed up in his little uniform on the 25th of March, that's next Thursday, for the 200th anniversary of the Greek Revolution. Anyway, a special ceremony will be held in the centre of the Belgian capital to honour the Greek War of Independence, and Brussels will join the rest of the world, which will turn Greek for the bicentennial on March the 25th. There's all plans for the colours of blue and white to be flashed everywhere on the Sydney Opera House. I think even Big Ben's going to go blue and white as well, in a sort of remark of respect for the Greek War of Independence. Right, so there you go. That's the news for today. I'm just going to have a quick look at all those people that are tuning in at the moment. just have a quick look at what's going on. Nice, so big quick wave to Alf Ling, who's tuning in. Rainer Pete Dillon is also tuned in as well. Trees Around Huggett, nice to see you. Julie Meldrum, nice to see you as well. I saw your little message online about determined to get here for your holiday. Really lovely to see that. Denise Tyndall is also there. Jane Farrant is also watching. Trees Around Huggett says, good morning to you. Thank you, my lovely. Lindsay Lamb on the island is looking in as well. Steve Simpson is looking in. Hilary Rogers is tuning in as well. Lovely to have you looking in, Hilary. Julie Meldrum says, good morning. Mark Palfrey is also tuning in. Nice to see you, Raffridge buddy. Cherry Stott up there in the northern part of the island is nice to see you. Looking in as well, my darling. Lyndon Erickson is also tuning in. Catherine Ling is also tuning in over on the way down to Kerry. Nice to see you looking in as well. Nice. I hope you're having a good day. Myra O'Donnell is also looking in as well. Nice to see you, Myra. Barry Baxter's tuning in. Billy Hester is also tuning in as well. Alan Woodhouse is tuning in. Brett Weston is also tuning in as well. Martin Holsworth, old Marty the Mod, nice to see you there, fella. Don't forget, today, Marty, I've got my Northern Soul show going out on beatsradio.co.uk. Tonight, your time, which is 5 o'clock, all right? 5 o'clock your time. Tune in, which is 7 o'clock Greek time, by the way. So tune in. It'd be nice to see you in the chat room again. I've also put your request in as well in this week's show as well, as the show is recorded, all right? Patsy Ann Dobson is also tuning in. Hilary Rogers says, morning, Gin. Howard Sleswick. Oh, my God, there's a blast from the past. Nice to see you tuning in, Howard. Hope all is well with you, Raffridge buddy. John Mims is also tuning in as well. Nice to see you. Patsy Ann says, good morning from Margate. Hope all is well. What's the weather like in Margate today? Is it beautiful? I've seen some lovely pictures of the... did you know Turner said, the famous artist, said that some of the most beautiful sunsets, he said, were in Margate in Kent. And he actually, you would paint the sunsets there because he said they were so inspirational. Fantastic place. Anyway, Chris Neal is also there. Yanis Thakis is also tuning in. Nice to see you tuning in, Yanni. Ian Daly is also tuning in as well. If I remember rightly, Ian is over there in Broadstairs. Graham Bint over in Australia is also tuning in as well. Nice to see you, buddy. Christopher Lloyd James is watching as well. Heather Nash in Birmingham is tuning in. Nice to see you. David McCosh is also there as well. Heather says, morning, mates, to you and Ginge from Heather and Gary. Thank you, my darling. Alice Wills is also tuning in. Brian Ives is also tuning in. He says, morning, Ginge. Andrew the Fridge Watkins is there. Dave Coldwell from the United States is there as well. Jerry Coyle is there. Maureen Elves from around the corner is there as well. Sharon Brownlow is also watching. Dave Burns, my old mate Dave Burns, tuning in. He says, morning, pal. How you doing, buddy? He's watching and tuning in. Emma Marku is also there as well. Thank you, Emma, for the stuff you sent me yesterday. That was greatly appreciated, all right? And I did have a good peruse at that, and thanks again for all the stuff you're sending me as well. Billy Hester, he's also tuning in. He says, good morning, Ginge. It's the children that won't be vaccinated in time, so family holidays could be a problem. Yeah, that's a good point, actually, you raised there, Billy, because as we have seen, some of the variants of the virus are now starting to attack the younger age. So again, we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. I don't know if they're going to implement any vaccination of children. Should they implement any vaccination of children in the same way that you get mumps and measles vaccinated for? I think seeing the changes in the virus, I think at the moment is also raising questions as well. And that's a good point that you brought up there, Billy, about what's going on with what's going to happen with children. And at the moment, I've got no answers, and I don't know if the government's got any answers. I don't know if anybody's got any answers on that thing as well. All right. So, but again, we'll keep our ear to the ground on that one, because unless, of course, you're going to come on holiday on your own, there's always that. Leave the kids at home, come on holiday on your own. And I think Billy's going to say, oh, don't give me ideas, mate. But again, we still need the youth as well to come as well. So again, and also when we're talking children, are we talking youth? In the age groups as well. Right, Pam Stott is watching as well. Emma Marcus says, good morning, Ginge, from us both. Have a great day. Cherry Shot, send my love to Jane. Bless you. Denise Driscoll is also looking in as well. Nice to have you. Karen Bush as well, tuning in. Delia Guzzetti is also tuning in. And that's it. Right. I say once again, thank you for all those people and the support that you've been giving me for these broadcasts as well. And also the fact that, I think I could be a bit of an influencer at the moment, and I'm being watched by the authorities. But anyway, who cares? I've been took down once off YouTube and then reinstated, and I was amazed at that as well, happening so quickly to get back again, and YouTube saying that they'd made a mistake and that I wasn't spreading any medical information from the World Health Organization. But anyway, just to remind you, don't forget tonight, 5 o'clock your time, 7 o'clock our time here in Greece. It's my Northern Soul show on beatsradio.co.uk. Come and join me. I'll be hovering about in the chat room. Come and put some requests in for any Northern Soul tunes that you'd like for future shows. And in fact, it's quite a pleasant little experience, to be honest. So beatsradio.co.uk. I've got to say a quick hello to Rose Wood and also Andy Watson as well. Thank you for tuning in. That's it from me. What are we doing today? Well, Jane and I, normally on a Sunday, we go for our little constitutional stroll around the area. This morning, it didn't like we were going to be doing that. But do you know what? It's starting to brighten up. So hopefully we are going to have some sun. I don't see the lovely Amanda with a weather forecast coming in at the moment. Although I've got to say quick hello to Dennis Patrick Carroll in Cyprus. Also Barbara Teller is tuning in as well. I better go, otherwise I'll be burbling here all day. You take care. You have a great day. I'll keep my ear to the ground. And if I have any great news for you, don't worry. I'll pass it on to you. And if you have anything for me, pass it in my direction as well. Thanks a lot. Catch you later. Ta-ra.